That thing that isn't happening just happened again. Two Chinese nationals have just been arrested in California for illegally smuggling tens of millions of dollars worth of advanced Nvidia GPUs from the United States into China by way of Singapore and Malaysia. Something we've been talking about on this channel for months, even though the AI bros insist that there is no proof other than a giant steaming pile of poop with a sign on it that says proof. Yeah, other than that, there's no proof this is happening. Don't make that face at me. What's up, guys? I'm nobody special, and yesterday we got this one from the Department of Justice. Two Chinese nationals arrested on complaint alleging they illegally shipped to China sensitive microchips used in AI applications. Two Chinese nationals, one of them an illegal alien, have been arrested on a federal criminal complaint alleging they knowingly exported to China tens of millions of dollars worth of sensitive microchips used in artificial intelligence applications. Chuan Gang, 28 of Pasadena, and Shui Yang, 28 of El Monte, are charged with violating the Export Control Reform Act, a felony that carries a statutory maximum penalty of 20 years in prison. Gang surrendered to federal authorities on Saturday, and Yang was arrested earlier that day. Gang is a lawful permanent resident. Yang is an illegal alien who overstayed her visa. According to an affidavit filed with the complaint from October 2022 to July 2025, the defendants, through their El Monte-based company ALX Solutions, knowingly and willfully exported from the United States to China sensitive technology, including graphics processing units, specialized computer parts used for modern computing, without first obtaining the required license or authorization from the U.S. Department of Commerce. According to the complaint, ALX Solutions was founded shortly after the Commerce Department began requiring licenses for the advanced microchips that Yang and Gang are alleged to have illegally exported. A review of export records, business records, and company websites indicates that a December 2024 shipment and at least 20 previous shipments by ALX Solutions involved exports from the U.S. to shipping and freight forwarding companies in Singapore and Malaysia, which commonly are used as transshipment points to conceal illegal shipments to China. And if you've been following this channel, you know I've been talking about those transshipments via Singapore and Malaysia for months, as have others on Twitter and X. Nvidia is hiding their illegal sales to China by claiming they're only billed to Singapore and that they're shipped to Malaysia, even though these are just front companies that are set up to bill to Singapore. They ship the GPUs to Malaysia. From there, they lose track of them, and the Malaysians ship them on to China. Last week, law enforcement searched ALX Solutions' office and seized the phones belonging to Gang and Yang that revealed incriminating communications between the defendants, including communications about shipping export-controlled chips to China through Malaysia to evade U.S. export laws. Well, there's more of that not proof about illegal Nvidia sales to China. So who are these ALX Solutions guys that are somehow able to get their hands on these Nvidia GPUs that had such insane demand that all of Silicon Valley couldn't seem to get their hands on these things? Nvidia claimed that, we just can't make them fast enough. Meta and Microsoft, they all have to wait for their chips. But somehow ALX Solutions of El Monte, California managed to get their hands on tens of millions of dollars of them, even though their website has virtually no functionality, just a coming soon message. Now, throughout this whole AI mania, companies like Nvidia and SuperMicro have repeatedly insisted that, we swear all of our customers follow the law. We have no knowledge of any illegal sales to China, even though anybody looking can easily tell that this company was a front set up for the sole purpose of circumventing U.S. export controls. Let's take a look at the Bizpedia page for ALX Solutions and see if we can find any of that not proof. The first bit of not proof is the timing of when this company was founded. They were filed in California on October 27th, 2022. That is just 1 month after the United States banned the sale of Nvidia's H100 GPUs to Chinese companies. And again, it's kind of interesting how this company with 2 or 3 employees somehow managed to get their hands on the most coveted hardware in the world, even though their company had just been set up a few days ago. And there's some other interesting information on the Bizpedia page. Let's take a look at some of the personnel. All right, up there at the top, there's Chuan Gang, the chief financial officer. That's one of the 2 individuals that was just arrested in California. Down there at the bottom, there's Shui Yang. That's the other person that was arrested, apparently the secretary of the company. But notice in the middle there, that middle name, Longjiang, the CEO. Well, that's interesting because Longjiang was not one of the 2 people arrested, even though it's the CEO of the company. And apparently, Mr. Xiang Long leads a pretty interesting life. He's an attorney here in the United States, specializing in patent law in China, a country that is known for wholesale intellectual property theft. Also, note this tidbit from the bottom of his bio on the website Patenting in China. He has litigated cases involving a variety of technologies, including semiconductors, computer hardware, software, nutritional supplements, and consumer electronics. Combining his knowledge of China and the US, Dr. Long has been able to bridge the often challenging divide between China and its foreign partners on IP-related issues. And in addition to practicing patent law in the United States and founding shell companies for Chinese smuggling, Mr. Long is also the founder of something called the Qixingqian Intellectual Property Agency in China. And here he is in this website called Metis IP, reassuring some Communist Party members about how he's doing everything he can to advance China's intellectual property interests. Dr. Long Jiang, founder and president of Qixingqian, introduced Qixingqian's patent layout and patent protection work to Deputy Director Zhu Zhongji and his delegation, and shared some practical cases of Qixingqian in safeguarding the legitimate overseas rights of interests of Chinese companies. You know, like illegally smuggling advanced GPUs out of the US and into China. You know, legitimate stuff like that. Gee, you think maybe this guy might have something to do with the rampant intellectual property theft in China? Maybe. Also, when we go back to the Bizpedia page for ALX Solutions, you note the address that Long Jiang, the CEO of the company, is using there. Well, that address tracks to this nondescript building in California that's home to something called the Chunyun Trading Company, which supposedly specializes in importing and exporting Chinese groceries. What does that have to do with GPUs? Well, that's up to you to decide. Also note the principal and mailing address in Philadelphia for ALX Solutions, a California company. Well, that address tracks back to this building in Chinatown in Philadelphia that is home to the Yeung Ling P.C. accounting firm. Now, that accounting firm specializes in tax preparation as well as H-1B visa applications and green card sponsorships. And I'm sure that's totally not just a front for Chinese corporate espionage. But remember, it was only those two 28-year-olds that were arrested, the secretary and CFO of the company, neither the CEO, registered agent attorney, who specializes in probably IP theft, nor was anyone at this accounting firm in Philadelphia who was obviously elbow deep in the paperwork moving these GPUs and money all over the world, involving shipments to Singapore and Malaysia and payments from Hong Kong companies in violation of export controls. Nobody at the accounting office or the CEO of the company have been arrested, at least not yet. And this is probably just one small fish in a giant pond full of small fish. Remember, only 2 people were arrested here for moving tens of millions of dollars worth of GPUs, but we did get this one just a few days ago. Nvidia AI chips worth $1 billion entered China despite US curbs, and that data was just for a couple of months. Obviously, these companies are having no problem getting their hands on these GPUs and moving them across the pond into China by way of Singapore and Malaysia. So, long story short, that thing that isn't happening just keeps on happening. Remember, guys, it's only been a couple of months since that bust in Singapore where they arrested people for smuggling GPUs into China. Now we've got these 2 small fish in California have been arrested for smuggling GPUs into China, even though companies like Nvidia and SuperMicro swear that isn't happening. We have all seen the pictures of Chinese guys holding up their H100s saying, "Look at my illegal H100 GPU here in China." We all know this is happening. The AI bros are pretending it isn't happening because they just want their stock to go up. And you know what? If the Chinese develop an AI that they use to make better military drones that target American aircraft carriers and kill American Marines and sailors, well, that's just the price they're willing to pay in order for their zero DTE call options to keep going up in price. At some point, the DOJ is going to have to stop tiptoeing around, arresting these small fry, and go after the real source of the problem, these gigantic companies with billion-dollar or even trillion-dollar market cap are pretending to be dumb, acting like they have no idea this is going on, when anybody who bothers to open their eyes can see that this is obviously what's happening. So for the time being, number go up. Till next time, live small and dream big.